Hi, in this demonstration video we will try to learn how to define trading systems in Stockalyze. So for the demo purpose I have taken this trading system that is available on internet, which is basically from the forex strategies resources.com. I have taken this trading system that uses MACD and ADX trading system to define buy and sell signal. This trading system is of moderate complexity, so because of that I have picked that for demonstration in Stockalyze, how to actually define fairly complex trading system in Stockalyze. That's the purpose of this video. So we will see what we can do to define a trading system. So here in this case, this trading system uses MACD as well as ADX. They are actually these two indicators uses different parameters than the default parameters, and using these two indicators buy and sell setups are defined. So we'll go forward and understand this trading system and try to define that in Stockalyze. So let's start Stockalyze, and then we will create a chart. So for example, let's create the chart of Nasdaq, and since this trading system uses MACD 3916 and ADX 16, so we will plot those indicators on the chart. So let's add indicator MACD. So this is 3916 was the parameters of MACD. So we create that indicator here, and another indicator was ADX 16. So let's create ADX 16. Yeah, so we have these two indicators, and in this trading system, for ADX it only uses plus DI and minus DI. It doesn't use the ADX curve. So for clarity on the chart, I will remove this ADX curve and the accompanying graphics elements like this yellow and gray mountains that we see. They are not needed as when we use plus DI and minus DI. So I will configure ADX and remove those elements because we don't need this mountain, the under mountain, and also the ADX line. We don't need that, so we'll remove it. Yeah, so it is now much cleaner. And for MACD also, it doesn't use anything. The description of it of the MACD indicator, it doesn't use anything other than the MACD line and the signal. So this histogram is not needed, so I will remove the histogram from MACD so that our chart will become cleaner for the purpose of this demonstration. Yeah, so now we have only MACD line and MACD signal lines, and the parameters as shown in the legend, they are exactly as it is mentioned in the definition. So sorry, I clicked on that. So okay, yeah, so we have plotted these indicators. Now we will try to understand what this trading system actually does. How does it define buy setup? So for example, it says MACD should give buy signal, okay, and plus DI should be above minus DI, okay. So if we go back to the chart and we see that MACD here gives buy signal, so basically the MACD line when crosses the MACD signal line, that's when the buy signal is generated by MACD indicator. So this is the place where MACD gives buy signal, so I will draw it here, and these are the places. So basically this again, this place, there are whipsaws. I will not draw them. Another is here, another is here. So these are the places where MACD has given buy signal. Now as per the trading system definition here on this website, it says that in the buy setup, when MACD signal gives buy signal and also plus DI is above minus DI, then buy setup should be generated, buy signal should be generated. So if we look at here MACD has given buy signal, but plus DI, which is a green curve in this zone, and plus DI is not above the green one, above the red one. So even when the MACD generates buy signal here, the buy signal from the trading system is not yet generated in this case. But here, as per the trading system definition, this is the case because plus DI is more than minus DI, and MACD has given buy signal. So here the buy signal is generated. In the same way, here also the buy signal is generated. Here also the buy signal is generated. Here the buy signal is not generated. But if we read the complete definition of this trading system, it says that when plus DI is below minus DI and MACD gives the buy signal, then we need to wait for plus DI to go above minus DI to make a long entry. So basically, even in these cases, for example here, the MACD has given buy signal, but plus DI is below minus DI, then it says that basically wait for the period when plus DI goes above minus DI and then generate the buy signal. So basically this will be the time when the buy signal should be generated with this trading system. So I will draw another circle here, let me color it blue, in the blue color. So this is the time when we need to generate buy signal, and we should have generated buy signal here, here, here. Here also the case is that MACD is has generated buy signal, but plus DI is lower than minus DI, so we need to wait, and here plus DI goes above minus DI, and then here we should be actually generating buy signal as per this trading system. So we will not try to define this setup in Stockalyze, but before we go into defining it in the Stockalyze, I will explain it a bit more in plain English. So this is the trading system, so I will copy it and I will try to explain it in a bit more detail so that we will be able to understand it well. So above is the original definition, and now I will write in Stockalyze terminology. So it says that in the buy setup, MACD should give buy signal, and we know that MACD gives buy signal when MACD crosses MACD signal. So if we look at the chart here, we see in the MACD zone we have the curve MACD and we have the curve MACD signal. MACD signal is the red color and the MACD is the solid color curve. So when MACD crosses over MACD signal, then the buy signal is generated. So the first condition, that MACD should give buy signal, can be represented in Stockalyze terminology as MACD crosses MACD signal, but in Stockalyze we also define crosses up and crosses down. So MACD crosses up MACD signal. There is another cross when MACD will cross the signal from above. For example here, this is crossed down in Stockalyze terminology. So when MACD crosses up MACD signal, then MACD generates buy signal. So this first condition of the buy setup can be defined simply like this. Then the next is when and plus DI should be above minus DI. So let me write this up. So plus DI should be greater than minus DI. That is another other condition. Both of them should be true for the trading system to generate buy signal. But the story doesn't end there. There is more. The more is that if plus DI is below minus DI, then we need to wait for plus DI to go above minus DI. One data is missing here, and that is about how long we need to wait. So we can make up some number here. For example, we can wait for 5 trading days or 7 trading days, or we can use any day, for example 13 or 14. and try to see how trading system works well. But yeah, so that is what we will have to fill in here. Okay, so that when plus di is not above minus di, we need to wait. And then when plus di goes above minus di, in that means when plus di crosses up minus di, then we need to generate buy signal. So when plus di crosses minus di, we need to be the other condition is that the MACD should have also given buy signal in the past. So if MACD has given buy signal in the past, then plus di crossing up minus di should be used as a buy signal. So the second part is that, so here we had MACD crosses up MACD signal and plus di should be greater than minus di. That is the first thing. But if it is not the case, we need to see that if plus di generates if plus di crosses up minus di and MACD has given buy signal in the past, then also we need to generate buy signal. So I will write more here. So if MACD crosses up MAC signal and plus di should be greater than minus di, then buy signal is generated. But otherwise, if plus di crosses up minus di and MACD had crossed up MACD signal in last 7 days, 5 days, anything you can try. But since the wait period is not defined here, so I'm just taking any number, for example 7 days. So if MACD crosses up MACD signal, if that is not the case, then plus di crosses up minus di and MACD had crossed up MACD signal in last 7 days. So that with this this defines the trading systems in entirety. So we had this condition here. I have written it in this case. I will read it again. So the trading system is defined like this: when MACD crosses up MACD signal and plus di is above minus di, then buy signal should be generated. Otherwise, else if MACD hasn't crossed up MACD signal, then if di plus di has crossed up minus di and MACD had crossed up MACD signal in last 7 days, then also buy signal should be generated. So this is what it actually means, the original trading system definition that we had lifted from internet. Now I will go ahead and define this using Stockalyze trading system editor. So we can go back to Stockalyze, create manage trading systems, and probably I had that defined already. Do we have MACD with ADX? Yes, I will delete it and then I will create a new one with the same name. Okay, so new MACD with ADX is the name of the trading system, and the description is basically we are lifting from internet. So as mentioned in this. Okay, now we will try to write literally whatever I had written here. So MACD crosses up MACD signal, so for the buy signal, and for simplicity let's define this trading system only for long position. We can define for only short position, long and short position, blah blah blah, but for simplicity I will just pick only for long position. And I will add the condition, and the condition is that the MACD crosses up MACD signal. So in the when we create on add condition, we get this condition editor dialog where we can actually define conditions using two different curves. And for the first curve here should be MACD, we don't have here, so let's add indicator, and indicator basically it is MACD. So MACD, and the parameters were, let me check, 3, 9, 16. So it is 3, 9 and 16 are the parameters. And so we have this MACD here. It crosses up MACD signal. In the second combo box we already get this MACD because we have just added this indicator. So MACD signal, and we want this condition to happen now, means the latest trading data. So we will leave this unchanged. We will fill this in other condition, but for this particular condition, because we want to we only need to check whether MACD has crossed MACD signal today. Today means on the day when we are evaluating the trading system, and with the past data, and the past data includes today's data. So we need to check whether this condition is true on the today's data. So we don't need to fill this value of M and N here. We will do that in other condition. So and here in the trading system dialog we get this thing that MACD crosses MACD signal from below. So this is the first of the condition. Now I will add the second condition, that is plus DI should be greater than minus DI. So to add another condition, we will again click on add condition, and here it is about ADX indicator. Plus DI and minus DI are the part of ADX indicator, so I will add ADX indicator. So ADX, and the period of ADX was 16, so I change that to 16, and then I will pick plus DI in the first, and then the condition will be is greater than minus DI. So ADX minus DI, and this is what we had here. Plus DI should be greater than minus DI, and here plus DI is greater than minus DI. So the second condition is fulfilled. So these are the two we have already written. Now we need to say that in the case when MACD hasn't crossed up MACD signal, then we need to check whether DI has crossed up minus DI, and in that case we need to also add MACD must have crossed MACD signal in last 7 days, during last 7 days. So let's go and add here. So in Stockalyze trading system editor we have add condition, and we also have add subcondition. Add subcondition is for basically adding the condition where OR operation is needed. So here we need OR. So subcondition is that in the Stockalyze terminology. So we will add a subcondition which will mean actually OR. If MACD, if the first condition, if we see if MACD hasn't crossed MACD signal, then we need to check whether DI has crossed up minus DI as we had mentioned here, and MACD had crossed up MACD signal in last 7 days. So again here we'll add another condition. Here it will be MACD crosses up MACD signal, but again here we don't need to check it on the today's data, but in last 7 days data. So we will say that during M and N previous days, that means during last 6 and 0 previous days, between that two periods. So 0 day earlier means today, 1 day before is yesterday. In that ways if we start from 6 days before till now, it will total be 7 days. So we will start from where M is 6 and N is 0. So we will cover the 7 days. So if MACD, as per this condition, if MACD crosses up MACD signal in last 7 days, then this condition is fulfilled. So now we will hit OK, and we have this condition written here. I will increase the width of the dialog box to see it completely. So in this dialog we see the complete name for the indicators. Just to be sure that we need to look at the parameters as well. So for example here MACD 3916, which works on close value of the price, and the MACD curve of this indicator. So it is that long, but we can simply read it like this. The whole thing from here to here we can just say MACD, and from here to here we can just say MACD signal. So when MACD crosses MACD signal from below during 6 and 0 previous days, then this particular condition is true. So what we did exactly is that we converted a trading system definition that we lifted from internet into the terminology that is used in Stockalyze, and we translated those terminology into the Stockalyze trading system editor. And I think it is easy this way, that Stockalyze provides the way to define trading systems graphically rather than writing complex formula. And the trading system, when we see here, reads in plain English, and we can understand it in a better way if rather than when we look at the formula that will actually be more complicated. So that is how this buy setup of this trading system can be defined. And in the same way we can also define sell thing, but I will not repeat the same thing. I will not go tell the whole story here because it will be actually kind of repetition of what we have already done here. So that's the way we to define trading systems in Stockalyze, and we see that it is actually pretty easy to do so. Thank you for watching.